The forces pulling the Horn of Africa apart are gaining strength. There are very real, imminent threats to stability in several other East African countries. Nothing is more searing than Sudan's shockingly destructive war, which shows no sign of ending. The recent wave of drone attacks on Port Sudan, along with the RSF's sustained pressure on El Fasher, confirm that it is indeed possible for this terrible situation, the worst humanitarian crisis in the world, to get even worse. And famine, on a scale the world has not seen in decades, remains not just a possibility, but a likelihood. We have multiple civil conflicts persisting in Ethiopia, and Prime Minister Abiy's ambition to regain a presence on the Red Sea has raised tensions with Ethiopia's neighbors. Of course, my colleague is absolutely right. Somalia continues to struggle for a modicum of effective governance, while battling al-Qaeda's largest global affiliate, al-Shabaab, and dealing with a chapter of the Islamic State. So China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Turkey, Iran, all of these states are active in the region. Many are very clearly thinking about their relationships in the Horn of Africa through a long-term strategic lens. They're investing in influence. And because their interests are not always aligned, they're sometimes engaging in proxy conflict. And we see this very clearly in Sudan. It's frankly less clear that the United States has a strategic vision for its relationship with the region. Longstanding problems of understaffed embassies and insufficient prioritization of African issues have joined the immediate shock of these very abrupt changes in foreign assistance and international humanitarian aid delivery to make it very easy for adversaries to paint the United States as uninterested and unreliable. Other anti-American messages capitalize on the fact the U.S. has been the most powerful country in the world throughout the post-Cold War era, and they tend to paint Washington as the enforcer of a painful, unjust status quo, which is one reason there's enthusiasm for BRICS in the region, and one reason I'm concerned about the cuts to Voice of America, which has provided some alternative perspectives on global issues. So this widespread perception of disengagement exists despite the fact that the United States, as you rightly noted, has very clear vital interests in this part of the world, not least the free flow of commerce through the Red Sea and combating terrorist organizations with very well-documented intent and in many cases experience, track records of doing so, of harming Americans. So part of the problem is uncertainty about just what the U.S. wishes to see in the region, what kind of East Africa is in the U.S. interest. Right? We would certainly benefit from a region at peace with capable governments that can be partners in addressing existing and emerging threats. We would benefit from a region with growing economies that can become trading partners, attractive investment destinations, potential collaborators in new enterprises. And we would benefit from a region, vitally, that is not beholden to U.S. adversaries or mortgaged to deep-pocketed external actors whose interests do not always align with ours. And so to pursue this vision, the United States needs to prioritize conflict resolution and conflict prevention. These seem expensive. I think we've seen through this exercise with the Houthis in Yemen that it's far more expensive to actually have to turn to military action to protect our interests. The United States should avoid, I agree, an over-reliance on personal relationships with any specific regional leaders. Of course, the United States cannot simply impose its will on other states, but there can be no delegating responsibility for pursuing U.S. interests to any partner, not in East Africa and not in the Gulf. And finally, the United States needs to develop and pursue a Red Sea regional strategy, not a set of a la carte deals that transcends our own bureaucratic divisions that put Africa in one basket and the Middle East in another. For several years, I've served with other former U.S. officials on the U.S. Institute of Peace's Red Sea Study Group, which has advocated for this kind of more comprehensive approach to the region. A successful new security architecture would have to take all relevant equities into account. Thank you so much again for the opportunity. I look forward to the questions.